All right, circling back and catching up on some of the things I missed. Another Southeast Asian horror film on Netflix called Tomb Watcher. Yep, we're not raiding tombs this time. We're just watching them. So this one is from Thailand. And this follows a woman who accompanies her boyfriend to a... Of course, I know you guys will be shocked by this, but they are people from the big city. And they're going out into the rural areas. That is the premise for every fucking Southeast Asian horror movie I've ever seen in my goddamn life. But I will say this. The premise of this one, while I am going to play it a little closer to the vest because I want it to be revealed to you, you can look it up if you want. I'm sure IMDb will have a breakdown synopsis that totally ruins what this is about. I went into it blind, which I always, want you guys to do. I suggest you try it out. I always do. So anyway, while I think that there is tropes in this for sure, that's to be expected with most Southeast Asian horror. They all have a pretty similar feel for the most part. There was some uniqueness to this one. I mean, it was entertaining. I liked it. And I think that what's cool about this one is that our characters are unlikable people. They are morally not even questionable, just not good people. Straight up. I don't think that there's an argument to be made for either of our main characters here. And it's important to the story, right? Like, it definitely answers some questions of like why they would stay and everything, right? So I thought that was cool. I liked the way that they were done. And, I enjoyed the story. It's shorter, thank God, right? These are typically 2+ hours long. This one was a breezy 90 minutes, as they should be. These stories typically play themselves out in the usual runtime, and for some reason they add an extra 30 freaking minutes, but not this one. So thank you for that. I liked our performances. From our leads here, we have, and this of course is a supernatural horror film, as one would expect, because as I said, they all kind of feel similar. And as far as the horror goes, I'll say most of it is pretty tropey, pretty seen that a million different times kind of horror, but also there's a few moments that are like, oh, that was cool. Nothing is like crazy original. Right? But there are a couple moments where I was like, oh, that was neat, or like, oh, that was kind of fucked up, or like... And then, of course, there's another trope that happens in a lot of these. There's a lot of, like, fake outs, right? And there's also, like, a lot of characters that they think something happened to them, or they think they saw something, or they think they have evidence, and then they look, and there isn't the evidence anymore when someone arrives. That's very classic for these types of films. So I think if you're a fan of like, horror from this region, whether it's Thailand or Singapore or the Philippines or Vietnam or Indonesia or whatever, I definitely recommend it. I think that it's not great. I'm not super high on it, but I was engaged and I was entertained, and I thought that the ending was pretty satisfying. It somewhat felt like a Tales from the Crypt story, elongated, and yeah, I just kind of, I liked once it revealed itself, and that's just it. I think that's why it's so important a lot of the times to go into movies blind. Because once you know the premise, once you know the setup, once you know the gag, the gimmick, the draw, right, the hook, then you're really just kind of waiting for those things to play out. And your expectations a lot of the times can't be lived up to because you've already built a story in your head and you already know the like kind of the initial twists. I didn't know what it was. So when they went to the house and we find out what it is, I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's unique. Had I not known that going in, then that would have happened, and I've been like, yeah, I already knew that, and I was just waiting for it to happen. So there's no surprise, there's no excitement. You already know things. I know somebody who like straight up looks up spoilers for every film that they watch for the most part. They want to know exactly what the movie is going to be, exactly what happens in it before they'll decide whether or not they want to watch it. That's legitimately insane to me. Like, it is so far removed from who I am as a film viewer. I couldn't be more the opposite if I tried. I want everything to be exciting. I want everything to be, fresh and the first time I ever see it. The title. I don't even like knowing the title a lot of times. Of course, I have to type it in, but if I, in an ideal world, I would just have someone I really trusted throw on a movie, and I just open my eyes and I'm just like, what's this? And it goes and the titles happen or like whatever, and I'm just like, oh, that's a cool title. What could that be? And I only have seconds to think about it as the story unfolds. That's just how I am. I very much want these are stories, right? And a good storyteller is not going to give you a trailer or a synopsis before he tells it, right? Imagine going to a campfire and the person being like, okay, so what this story's about is there's this guy and he meets this girl and these things happen and blah, blah, blah. And here's kind of like the hook. And okay, let me now tell you the story. You'd be like, well, what the fuck? Why'd you say that? Why did you tell me beforehand what the hook was going to be? I want to, but for some reason, people really want to know before they go into movies what it is. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know. I find that odd. So for me, I implore you, if you are interested in this style of film, even though I'm very vague on this. If you like Southeast Asian horror, I do think that this one is worth your time. It is on Netflix currently, and I think it's fairly satisfying. Once again, it's tropey. There's definitely a lot of things you've seen it before, for sure. It's not a great film, but it's a good watch. It's definitely like a good one-time watch. And that's that. Tomb Watcher. All right. Check it out. Let me know. Adios.